If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Are Drake and 21 Savage dropping a collaborative album or tape or whatever you want to call it? Today, we're going to go really in depth and break down the timeline of what has happened ever since the rumors started spreading. I'm sure you've seen it on Instagram and everywhere. And we're going to break down all the pieces of evidence we have as to what this new album might actually be and when it might release. So let's jump straight into this. Real quick before we get started, make sure to cop this amazing merch. It is comfortable as hell and it is great. It's great. It's so nice. And if you're a channel member, you also get an additional discount on it. So make sure to go check out the store in the description down below or right here on YouTube. But let's get into the video now. So let's start with how these rumors actually started. And we got to take it back to a tweet from 2 days ago from a guy named D. or D. Omen. And we don't know exactly who this is. He's a verified account on Twitter. And he tweeted, "Drake and 21 Savage tape finna be brazy." And this is kind of the starting point for everything. Because afterwards, Rap TV on Instagram picked this up and made it an individual post on their Instagram page. And this is where it gets really interesting, because from here on we have actually people getting involved in this. So we have this post from Rap TV that is saying that there's rumors that Drake and 21 Savage might be dropping a collaborative tape together. And then 21 Savage, if you look, very closely in the comments a cap emoji. And this is where 21 Savage gets involved with this. And this is really interesting because this might be a hint that there is actually more to this than, we actually thought. If he was just denying it, I don't think he would have said anything. And NFR Podcast made a great commentary on this. They said that we hear all types of rumors about, I think they mentioned Watch the Throne 2 or a Baby Keem and Kendrick record, but they never actually say anything about it. They just kind of ignore it and it never happens. But if artists are actually getting involved in this, then there's actually something to it, and that's why a lot of people think this might actually be happening. But let's keep going in this, order of how things dropped and happened. Because next up, 21 Savage's manager got involved in this, and he took it back to Twitter to reply to the tweet from D. Omen. And he said, "Would be fire if this happened. Can't lie, but tweets like this make people think this is something real. LOL. Wish it was though." So he's again saying that this isn't real, but he says he wish it was. This is, of course, not an official confirmation that it actually is something, but we're going to get into a couple of leaks and a couple of different interesting things that happened with Drake that might also hint towards this dropping and them just saying that it's not dropping for a surprise element that the album then eventually has when it comes out. So that's kind of something I want to, real quick throw in there. 21 Savage and his manager are saying this is not real, but we're gonna see, if this is actually how they really feel or if it's just for surprise elements. Make sure to stay hydrated though, and that's very important as well, aside from the Drake project. Next up, very interesting, are a couple of more tweets. This time from Zoe Dawes, who is very closely affiliated to Drake, who's also signed to Future's Free Bands label, and who's just been seen with Drake, here and about. And he, composed 2 tweets. They also tweeted on the same day. I think the same morning that D. Omen, I think even before D. Omen posted his theories on this. And he posted a owl emoji and a knife emoji. And of course, this could be referring to something completely else, but him being so closely affiliated with Drake, kind of makes you feel like the owl is the OVO, the knife is the 21 Savage knife. Very interesting. I don't know, how real this is, but he did go on to also tweet, "That's finna be a crazy tape," I think 2 or 3 minutes after posting the first tweet. Of course, "That's finna be a crazy tape" could refer to his own music. I'm not, denying that. But just, 3 minutes earlier, he tweeted the owl and the knife. So come on, man. At some point, we got to be less oblivious and kind of acknowledge that there are some signs to this actually out there in the, hip hop universe floating around. So this is another, sign that there is something coming in. A couple of people know about this. The people close to Drake, the people closely affiliated to the managements that are handling this, kind of like the people that we talked about included. So that's like another sign that we're actually getting this. We're going to get into what Drake said in a minute, but let's focus on a couple of OVO people, because on a podcast or on a show, you know, the different radio channels that OVO got administered all over the place, we had OVO Mark and Noel, so his engineers, talk about his performance at the Apollo Theater in New York on November, I think it was 11th. I dropped an individual video on this a couple of weeks ago, so make sure to go check that out. But they talked about what he's going to perform there, and they were talking about the Darkland demo tapes, about CLB, and Honestly Nevermind. And they talked about him performing 3 albums there. But you can hear him. You can hear, you know, Mark stutter, almost say 4 albums. And then Noel jumps in and starts talking about, okay, let's not get into speculation. So this is, again, another very suspicious sign that there is another project that drops before November 11th that, you know, is going to be performed at the Apollo Theater show that is happening in the middle of November. I just want to throw that in there. Shout out to Gucci Boy in the Discord that also pointed this out and sent this to me and sent it to the Discord in general, to the community. If you're not a part of the Discord yet, make sure to become a part in the description down below. Best hip hop community on this planet. Y'all know I'm preaching that. So let's get it. Let's now also get into Drake. Pause. But let's talk about what he said, because there are a couple of interesting things out there that Drake said that, you know, we got to take into account. First of all, he took to his story like 2 days ago to post that the video for Jimmy Cooks, so their latest collaboration that is the most successful song off of Drake's latest album, Honestly Nevermind, the video for that is dropping today on Saturday. It hasn't dropped at the point of recording this. If it's out by the time that you're watching this, make sure to leave, you know, your thoughts on the video in the comments down below. Maybe we'll get some sort of announcement in that video, which would be really dope, but so far it hasn't dropped, so that is coming out. So the two of them are definitely still working and linking up. And another thing that is even more exciting is Drake had another stake, you know, gambling roulette stream a couple of days ago, and in there at some point he bet on the number, I think the number 21 was like the result of the game, and he kind of like looked around and he was like, 21, interesting. So there's definitely something to this. You can't tell me that that wasn't suspicious and that wasn't a little fishy if Drake is like, okay, 21, you know, that's kind of interesting. So that's another sign that there's actually something coming out. Also, at the end of the stream, he, you know, kind of said goodbye in his outro with the words, "I will see you very soon in plenty ways, I'm sure." So it's kind of like hinting that it's not only going to be a new stream that is coming out, but also new music. So there's definitely something. We have Drake music on the horizon, even if it's not a 21 Savage collaborative mixtape, even if it's just Scary Hours 3 or another album. A couple of days ago only, I think 2 days ago, I dropped a video about a KTT2 forum, you know, discussion about a couple of leaks that we have about a new album coming out in October. For example, Viet Bra, I mentioned in there, a kind of not famous, but like a known leaker, a known like community member of the Reddit and the KTT2 community that talked about new music coming out this week. And by this week, I mean October 28th is the last Friday in October, so the last Friday that it would make sense for them to drop. Of course, we don't have any new information on this. I kind of also see it, as I said, NFR Podcast also did a great video on this, but they also said that, you know, we had Drake in 2015 drop an album and a collaborative tape later. Back then it was Future with the What a Town to Be Alive. Now we have 21 Savage with this one. It's going to be interesting to see how this turns out and what it's actually going to be like, but for now, this is all the information we have. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think this tape is actually becoming reality? Do you think this is actually happening? How do you feel about this? Do you think this is going to be dope? Did you like Jimmy Cooks? Also, there are a couple of rumors about Jimmy Cooks like supposed to be on Scary Hours 3, and now it's the outro of Honestly Nevermind, so maybe Honestly Nevermind is like transitioning into the new album. Just some thoughts I have. Let me know your theories on this, though, in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.